Hello and welcome back to MashMetrics Introduction to Enhanced Google Analytics. This is tip number 4, the top GA reports to review. It is a common tendency for people to log into Google Analytics, check the line graph, make sure that it's going up, look at their bounce rate, maybe their average session duration, and of course your overall page views. Now, this is all known as Vanity metrics. Sure, it's news, but it's not really actionable now, is it? Let's say I were to tell you that the average weight of an adult person in the world is 137. It's true. What would that tell you? Now, if I told you my friend's website got more than 1 million page views, what does that mean? Now, the reason analytics can get very confusing is because we tend to look at it without any context. Let's go back to the weighting. Now, if I'm living in Vietnam, which is way down here, where the average weight is 112, I'd start eating everything I could get my hands on, thinking that I needed to catch up on the average weight. Whereas in the United States, as you can see, things are quite different. The same is true if I'm a blogger, getting only 100,000 visits a month. I might just stop, saying there's no way I would catch up to this. Until I actually see the date range. Oh, well, I'm actually right on par. You can now see the problem with averages. Without context, they really don't tell us much, and more likely give us the wrong impression. That's why everyone wants to know a baseline or an average. And in reality, you don't want to know, because you, your website, and nothing is really average. Like all good things, it takes some hard work to really find opportunities on your website. Luckily, you should be able to find some low-hanging fruit from going to these top 5 reports on a regular basis. In this section, we'll drill deeper into our visitor and page activity by looking at the new versus returning, mobile, desktop, and tablet reports, where are people coming from within our channels report, what pages they utilize when they first come in, and then probably a new report for most of you, top events, which are those on-page activities or on-page engagement. First, let's get to know more about the differences in behavior seen by the new versus returning visitors on our website. As a disclaimer, obviously every website is going to show different trends. That's the reason why we all have different profiles. Now, before, you could certainly view the differences between quantity, bounce rate, and average session time. You will notice the goal drop-down now on the far right. Now, when you click on this, you can of course select these goals one by one. But let's use our powerful goal sets to really see what users are doing. For this report, let's use our visitor engagement goal set, or goal set 4. This allows us to see overall site usage. While in this case, not a lot of users are viewing several pages, return visitors are certainly spending a great deal more time than new visitors, almost double. Interesting. While return visitors might have a higher bounce rate, as we can see in this report, return visitors certainly stay for a lot longer. Now let's review the audience mobile overview to see differences between devices people are using. Here, we will use our on-page engagement goals to see if there's any difference in behavior. And wow, there certainly is. people just don't scroll all the way down on a mobile device. I mean, do you? Maybe that is why I'm getting fewer email signups. I pushed that to the bottom of the pages for mobile users, thinking it would help. I'm not going to do that anymore. Now, hopefully you're starting to see how understanding overall activities versus simple quantity can really expand your insights and help you make incremental improvements. Now, you got me, Thomas. I'm curious. How is my traffic performing across various channels? Let's navigate to that report and again apply the on-page engagement goals. As you can see here, while the differences aren't quite as obvious as our device report, I do notice a negative trend within the social channels. It seems to have a lower average bounce, 45-second scroll, and other conversion rates. Social media is a large space, so let's go ahead and drill into this by clicking on social to see what's going on for each of those different websites. Wow, certainly looks like Pinterest is definitely generating a lot of traffic, and actually, unlike our example within the goals training section, the quality of the traffic is fairly in line with the rest of the websites. StumbleUpon, however, is not looking good. Again, if I use my DaVinci tools, I can notice that it's pretty much red in all of the different areas. Another good example where quantity doesn't necessarily equal to quality. Let's see how our actual content is performing by looking at our landing pages report. Here, I'm going to behavior, landing pages. A user's first impression is everything. So we can look at our landing page performance and the appropriated goals to make sure users are eventually meeting my expectations on each page. For this report, I'm going to use the on-page activities. I have some pages that I really want some users to explore my affiliate links, where others I want to make sure that they're filling out my form. Okay, so not so much form engagement here, but the one thing that I wanted to know, are users clicking on my affiliate links? I can certainly see, yes, efforts to save the cows and sell dairy-free chocolate chips is working, almost 7% of the time. Now, I don't really place a lot of affiliate links on other pages, so I'm not really worried about those. It's also interesting to note, though, that about the only place where people are clicking out to my social media links is on my homepage. This is going to happen all the time in your analysis. You might be looking for one thing, like are people clicking on affiliate links, and find a completely different insight in the process. Write that down, and then look at that later. As you go through the navigation within Google Analytics, it can certainly be quite daunting. So we hope this review of the top 5 really at least helps you get started. These are the key reports that we look at. But of course, once something catches our eye, we start to use the secondary dimensions feature shown in the last course, customize our own reports, or just simply drill in by clicking on the dimensions. Whatever it takes to explore and to find insights. In fact, speaking of customization and finding insights, next section, we're going to get out of the Google Analytics interface and check out Google Data Studio. Talk about making data sexy. This is really going to impress you. Talk to you the next time.